Alright, welcome back to another video. Today we have some good and bad news. Bad news, we have to spend more money. Good news, we did find a new motor. So in the last video, we tore down our SR20 that broke. Sounded a lot of damage. So we're going to have to essentially find a new head at minimum for that. The bottom end we still didn't tear down, but in the meantime we will get a new motor for this. So just still sitting on the stand. Finally getting rid of this, I believe today. Just a lot of issues for this customer car. We put a link fury in, went to start it, and his battery relocation wire ran under the frame rail, and he's a little low, so he rubbed through it, and you could see like this P clamp started catching on fire. So we ended up replacing that. Had to do a few more wiring changes because the harness was made wrong with the crank sensor and the cam sensor. We put in new IDs. Get it running. His alternator starts smoking. I have to replace that. So we tuned this on E85 yesterday, and now later on we're going to go fill this up on 93, check over the tune, lower the boost, and ship it home. But we just got to get this moved out of the way right now, so then we can get to our engine hoist when we get back with the car. So I'm going to move this out, go get the truck, grab the straps, put those back in the truck, and go pick up this motor. So, we got our new SR here. Little leaky and old, but it will do for now. Got Brian here, hooked it up.
Hell yeah.
Got his IS300. Gonna tune in some two-step real quick, because we did tune this car before, if you guys follow the page. What is this, 5-6 PSI boost.
Yeah.
Cool.
Safe build.
Yeah, automatic still too, on the Link Fury, while retaining the stock ECU still. Just set up a quick two-step for this. Just gonna give it a quick sound clip. Alright, and we are back at the garage. So, didn't film unloading or anything. We did stop at MWR. We picked up all of our parts off of our engine. So we got our valve cover, our coil packs, cast, alternator, hot side, power steering pump, as this motor did not have one. So basically picked up everything to make sure that we are not missing anything, and we have a few extra pieces. We got our hardware, extra rocker arms, lifters, etc. So when we pull this apart, just gonna basically try to go over it as best as we can, but without doing too much to where we're gonna dive into a huge build again. So basically stock SR setup. We're gonna throw a G25 on it, our manifold and injector setup, and see what it does on low boost, just to make it reliable. And it does look like we have a Greddy style pan, but we have a new actual Greddy one in the box, so we might use that one on this motor, or just keep that for the other one that we're going to build. But as for now, going to take a quick break from the heat. It's supposed to get around 100 something degrees today, so might reseal this tomorrow, another day, but it will be in the same video. So a couple seconds for you guys, maybe a couple hours or days for me. Alright, finally back in the garage, caught up on these customer cars here. So we got that SC300 gone that we showed in a previous video, and then we had this S13 show up. He brought this for an initial like Mega Squirt install, and this is a built KA24, but he brought an SR20 ECU, so obviously that's not going to fit. We ended up wiring in a Link Monsoon on this and got everything working well. So now we're finally back to working on our own stuff. So here's the SR20 again. As you can see, it was painted, paint's chipping. We're going to clean this all up, take off this pan, get our new valve cover back on, and all of our peripherals, but we do have to reseal the front cover here, the lower oil pan, and the upper oil pan. So we're going to have to just zip all this up and just start gooping it up. Alright, so first look inside the motor. Chain is a little bit loose here. It might tighten up when you start turning it. But overall, it's pretty clean inside. We have all this like weird sealant that was placed on all the gaskets. So we're gonna have to take all this off. But otherwise, inside looks pretty good. Don't see anything sticking out like loose bolts like last time. And yeah, so at some point this engine was touched, but we don't know the extent of what was even done. So we'll get our cast out, then we can take our 2 upper timing cover bolts out, and then the rest from the front, our pan stuff, and then this will all come off and we can just spray this down brake clean, get it all clean. Alright, so we finally got all the bolts. I had to pull this cam gear out because the method I was using to get this bolt here, it wasn't coming out all the way, so I just popped that off. And as we were pulling off this cover, noticed one of the ears was broken off, and it was just pretty much all silicone. So did that, unbolted our oil pump pickup here, and now this will slide off. So now we can recheck base timing of the engine, get out all this little goop. As you can see, it's all up in the guides, pretty much everywhere. And probably end up buying a new pump just because this engine isn't at rush. So scrape this off, order that, and just make sure that this is all good. We can set our timing again. Alright, so we're actually cleaning off all of the sealant we showed you. But as I was getting down lower, you see here, there's supposed to be part of the head gasket here, and that's what seals the top cover. So the previous owner had said there's a large leak here, and you can see they just kind of cut the head gasket here. So not him, but I'm guessing someone else that was in the engine before him, because he did not really touch this. I wouldn't have him lie like that, but yeah. So now we're gonna pull off the head. I ordered a new head gasket, and just for while this is out, because this is aluminum, we will have to deck this for the first time coming off. It's going to be warped. I'm going to do valve springs and retainers so we do not drop another valve. The rest of this looks pretty good, and then the rest of the sealant like this will just get cleaned off in the process as well. So then I can wire wheel all this paint off the block while it's apart, clean it up, make it nicer, and then this should last a lot longer that we're preventively upgrading it. Alright, so now we're going to pull our head bolts out. Forgot to mention when I was doing the cams that you do want to start from the outside and work your way in. So same with the cams, the head, anything with a lot of bolts that has a lot of tension. That way it doesn't flex or get clamped down unevenly. So this is a 10mm hex, and just pop out both ends. And you'll come over here and go diagonally from the last one that you did. Probably need a breaker bar for a couple of these, but impact usually gets it most of the time. Alright, now we'll take a look at what this is looking like. Show the camera, make it a surprise. And doesn't seem too bad overall. Definitely looks like the head gasket peeled up here some. The rest of that looks decent. And you can see just a lot thinner head gasket, and the wrong one was used, and not the proper multi-layer steel one. Put this in the box, pull off the camera. So you can see it's just like this eBay type gasket material with all the little dots on it. I don't have another gasket to show you, but you typically want, like, this is an intake manifold gasket. This is like a single layer metal, but you want something along the lines of this. And then they had a similar exhaust gasket that was on there. So somewhere around here I do have the original, or yeah, here's an OEM exhaust gasket. So see how this is multi-layer steel? This is what you want your head gasket to be out of so it doesn't leak. You can see his there was leaking. So now we're gonna have to clean up this block. Pistons and everything look good just from a quick glance. And have a little bit of pitting here, it looks like. I don't know if that'll clean up. But now we can bring our head to the machine shop and have him start prepping this before the parts come. That way he can get it done sooner, and we could just pop it right back on the block when we get our front cover in, possibly tomorrow. And we don't know when the head gasket and the valve springs are going to come yet, so we'll just skip on that in the video. And a couple seconds for you guys, a couple days or a week for me again. Alright, we left off. I dropped off the machine shop over at MWR. We're going to get that decked valve job and putting in new springs and retainers. So in the meantime, got the block all cleaned up, all this black paint, blasted it off with brake clean, cleaned up the deck surface for the most part. But now we have our oil pump in. This is from Mazworks. We got our new front O-ring, and that goes down in here. This was full of silicone, just like the rest of the crap was on the front here. Here's your part number for the pump. This is a S13 pump, and they do modify it for the S13 blocks. So there's one thing with these is you cannot just directly bolt these on. So the height of the timing cover actually matters with the block surface here. So what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of dry mount this, mark this up with Sharpie, and scribe the back of it. That way we can deck it down when we bring this back to the machine shop, and everything's going to be all flat. And that's potentially why the previous owner, whoever did it, had cut the head gasket, because they probably didn't deck it flat, so the head gasket had like a tilt to it. So I assume that's why they cut it off at that point and just tried to fill it up with silicone. So we're not going to do that. So I'll show you how to mark it up and just scribe it real quick, and probably pick back up at the machine shop. All right, so dry mounting our cover. If you look closely, actually, the cover is slightly lower than the block on this one. So we don't have to deck our cover. This block really should be decked because this is the first time pulling it, and it is aluminum like the head, but gonna check this with a straight edge and hope we can get away with it without tearing everything else apart. And if it is decent enough, we'll just run it as is. But we can use a thin layer of RTV, but with the head gasket in place. But there's no reason to just cut off the front of the head gasket like the other people did. Otherwise, there is a little small RTV spot that comes in the corner here on both sides, but you can just kind of make a small thin layer along the front of it, and that should help seal it as well. Alright, so we finally got our head parts here, our BC box. These are our valve springs and retainers. We're heading over to MWR now to drop that off. Hopefully we can maybe get the head machined today. If not, we can pick it up when it's done, get it slapped on our SR. We're also going to pick up Stevie's truck right now because couldn't get a new truck in time for the event. So we're just gonna use his, go rent a U-Haul or something, and hopefully that'll fit the chaser fine without any issues. Alright, so we just got back to MWR. I dropped off the parts earlier, but we just picked up Stevie's truck. Got a U-Haul trailer for the event. So he's currently machining our head right now. Get a quick clip of that. Decking it. There was one bent valve, he said, so we'll see how that looks. And here's his finishing pass coming up. Alright, so here are our old valve springs and retainers here, and now we have our new stuff over here. So the benefit of these is they're going to take a lot more abuse and hold a lot more pressure, and the springs have a lot higher weight. It's going to prevent the valve from floating around in the head at higher RPM. So the lower springs, they sometimes will not come up in time, and that's where you get your valve float and your valves will ding your cylinders. Alright, we left the shop for a little bit so they can finish up the head. In the meantime, we got some oil for the chaser. So for your JZs, if you're going to use a Mobil 1 filter, we have the M1 102A. We got Penn grade 1040 oil. So just going to do a quick oil change. Car's pretty much good. Other than that, don't really have to do much to this car. So our hood popped. So pull your cap first, leave it there, and then first you gotta jack your car up and pull the oil. Alright, so our upgraded pan actually has 8.5 quarts opposed to the normal 6 quarts. So from our last oil change, we have 1.5 quarts left in this jug, and then we're going to put another 7 of these small quart jugs in here as well. make sure that there's no leaks down by our filter or our drain plug. So we do have this vacuum line here that popped off our turbo, so we need to hook that back up. And our filter's up here, and it looks like the bottom is dry. It's like a little bit of coolant up on this plug here for the AC, but we did notice some spraying out of the overflow, so it was probably just overflow. So we'll get this line replaced, get the car jacked back down, and then we'll be able to load this up on the trailer to go to our vet. So our coolant, or not our coolant, our power steering reservoir was a little low, and during the last drift event we noticed that it was a little jittery during lock to lock. So if you look at this, there's actually a jitter in the wheel if you go slowly. Might be very hard to see. There's like a real slight jitter to it. See, no jitter, a little bit of jitter, no jitter. And then there it is. Very interesting setup. So maybe we have an issue with our power steering pump or our rack. So I might have to check that out after this event. Hopefully it runs good, doesn't blow out the rack or nothing. But it's all AN, sealed up nice. We have a billet reservoir. So everything's fine. I don't know where the fluid went. Really weird. Might have came out the rack. There's no fluid on the bottom of the rack. Just the coolant that's shown here on our like overflow and our intercooler pipe. So really weird, but hopefully everything goes good. This thing sounds pretty insane off the throttle in the garage. All right, we're back at MWR here. We got Mike, the owner of MWR. You guys tell them what you did with the new head?
So basically it got hot tanked. We also took and we decked it, so everything's nice and flat. We're starting over. We did a valve job. We cut the valves. You never cut valves the same angle you cut the seat. A lot of people make that mistake. Doesn't seal properly, beats the actual seat up. So we did our valve job on it. Everything is set to the same installed height. Installed aftermarket Brian Crower springs and retainers. Made sure that our installed height will work with our lifters, and made sure everything was ready to go.
Cool. And where can they find you at if they want to get some engine work done?
We are in Elwood, Illinois, which is just south of Joliet. We do tons of shipping. If you look behind you, we get stuff in boxes, you name it. We do a lot of shipping. We can ship via truck, LTL freight. And yeah, we build just incredible SRs. We've got an SR on the stand right there. That's a 92 by 92. Should make every bit of 330, 340 horse.
And this is NA?
And it naturally
Yes.
aspirated.
So big power NA for the SR guys that want to stay NA. And do you only do SR20s, or what else do you do?
No, we do KAs, we do Honda K series, we do D series, B series, F series. We do Fords, Ecotechs, which is what we're known for with the open wheeled stuff, which is sitting up top. And yeah, we pretty much rule the roost in most of that, and we're breaking into the drift market as well.
Nice.
So in process of doing this head, we were going through and cutting the valves. Turns out that we had a bent valve that was actually installed in the motor, and it actually still had proper compression due to obviously the spring pulling it up. But you can see how off that is. But we do have parts here, so we were able to grab a part off the shelf, cut it to the same height, and everything is good to go.
Cool. Should make a lot of power.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right, guys, this is where we're going to leave off for this video. We got the new head back right here from MWR. Going to have a part 2 for this video of assembling the SR, but in between there, we do have our drift day that we're going to go to. So, going to have a video for that and another for assembling this SR. So, if you missed in the last video, we are having a tune giveaway. So, at 10K subscribers, we're going to give away a tune completely free to anyone who is subscribed. We will have the updates of how to actually enter and give us all your info so that we can roll the dice, see who wins. So you do have to watch the videos to figure out how to enter, but other than that, completely free, no cost of entry, no buying stickers, shirts, anything like that. So catch you in the next one.